or sell Litecoin / the US dollar? First off, read this disclaimer carefully. Then do your good deed of the day by liking and subscribing. So Litecoin is 28% away from the low, 52-week low. Pretty decent, but we are minus 83% away from the highs. Here is their website, The Future of Money. Yeah, nice, informative website. Your money, blockchain secured, decentralized finance, evolving and immutable. Investing.com has crashed, hence we have to use this chart. I have a bunch of indicators here, but some are missing in action. Also, the correlation studies is not possible to do because those are also went down crashing with investing.com, but it will be resolved next week. So here is the chart. Litecoin, US dollar. We bounced recently from this weekly RSI low. It was a very good time to buy back here, but we haven't really seen anything similar to that. This is still very lethargic. We don't have a crash. We don't have a roar. It's just stuck, going sideways. When we go here to the daily data points, we are below all of the moving averages, which means that we have a cluster of resistance levels above us. We have some support levels below us, but at this point, it's becoming very dangerous. The bulls now need a very substantial catalyst to break through these resistance levels. So while they still have horizontal support, there's something amiss here. This isn't really supposed to happen if we have a bunch of bulls sitting on the fence ready, to join in. Yeah. In this case, I will just write bulls missing in action. We haven't seen the bears really pounce yet either. I will, however, give the bears -3 here. They have pushed the bulls below all the moving averages. This is dangerous. It's very dangerous indeed. So the bulls, if they have something in them, they need to act very, very, very soon. Because if we were to lose the few horizontal support levels that we still have, then there will be quite the trip down. Here is the seasonality for Litecoin. We usually see more weakness here over the last 7 years in blue, 5 years in green. More weakness into the 26th of October, then strength into early November, then substantial weakness. That is messy. So there is a trading opportunity on the horizon, but not an investing opportunity, for the bulls at least. To the left, over the last 5 years, October, it is strong-ish. But to the left, we can see a bit more nuance, in terms of that strength. November and December are weaker. Looking at the last 10 years, from October to January, the seasonality deteriorates for Litecoin. So I will give the bulls some props for the strength of October because we are still in October. However, the issue is that all the way into January, the seasonality gets worse. That's obviously not bullish. So yeah, -5 to the bears. On the fundamentals, no score on the fundamentals. So as I said, investing.com has crashed, so I'm not able to get any data here on relative performance in the classical way I do it, but I have found a workaround. Given that I have done so many, correlation studies on these cryptos before, I know the correlation is very strong with Bitcoin. So here is, a comparison of these two relative performance against each other, Litecoin versus Bitcoin. I do see something that looks like something that could become a rounding bottom. That is a bullish long-term technical pattern. So that's interesting. We still have no follow through. We sort of have this. Also, you could argue this is a bit of an inverse head and shoulders pattern, also very much bullish, but we haven't seen any fruits yet. So yeah, it's just there, but not come to fruition. So it's a bit frustrating, but sometimes that is what the market gives you. Here are the daily data points. We did here in early September. This looked definitively like an inverse head and shoulder ready to explode, but then the bears just came back. Looking at the seasonality, it is, well, all the way into early November. It is very strong for Litecoin. Then it gets weaker, which is a bit of an issue. Let's compare Bitcoin with gold. So we have this shuffle sideways here. So ever since early, well, it's late June, early July-ish, we have more or less gone sideways in this pair. When we look here at the seasonality, what does it suggest? Yeah, very flattish. So all the way here into late November, very much up and down between these two. So yeah, I will give the bears a -3 here. So we do end up with a -3.7 here in favor of the bears. The bulls are simply just missing in action. They had an opportunity to form a major low. They bounced a bit, but then they just gave it up. They are now below all the moving averages, broken a bunch of horizontal support levels. The seasonality is not that good. There's issues vis-a-vis Bitcoin. There's issues with Bitcoin against gold. So the situation now for the cryptocurrencies is quite messy. That doesn't mean it is impossible for the bulls to stage a comeback. It's just that they have put themselves in a situation where they need a bigger and bigger and bigger catalyst, to break through all of the resistance levels. That's a tough position to be in. So we have time left. Let's go through various alternatives to Bitcoin. Gold here. This is the GLD. We were below the red 200-week moving average, and it very clearly became a resistance level. That's not good. We haven't seen a full bore crash yet, but it's a mess. Gold is just in a total messy situation. Given the geopolitical situation, a lot of people, of course, they do expect gold to just roar. But in order to get gold to roar higher, people need to actually buy gold. They can't simply be like, wait until it happens. It's all about having more buyers than sellers. And so far, we have too many people waiting for gold to go higher instead of actually contributing to pushing it higher. That's a very important difference. To a very large extent, the market is dominated by self-fulfilling prophecies and self-reinforcing feedback loops. Here is silver. Similar thing. There's been some opportunities to rally, but you see that the purple 20-week moving average here is definitively a fail level. Let's look at the dailies. Yeah, I mean, we don't have any super clear technical indicators. Yeah, so it's a bit. Yeah, I mean, my browser is possessed, so yeah. So after the Windows update, I've had a lot of messy situations here with all kinds of. Yeah, here a bit of a glitch again. The visuals of Windows have changed, but seems like they got a bit too ambitious about what they changed. Probably should have done it a bit more incrementally. My computer's way slower as well. But anyway, what is going on with Platinum? Yeah, let's look at this one. Yeah, we are below the red 200-week moving average. The 200-week has been very viable here. Let me just draw it in to make it super clear. Red 200-week, super viable, super viable, super viable, and then it becomes a sell-off level. It becomes resistance. So the dynamics now, between price and that moving average have flipped. Now it is an indicator used by the bears. Next, let's look at UUP. UUP, like that. That is the dollar index ETF. Yeah, the dollar, it pulled back a bit. So if you look here at the wicks of these candlesticks, especially previous week we went way lower, and the week before that we were higher but closed lower. This week we closed higher but not higher than 2 weeks ago. So, and if you look here at weekly RSI on the bottom here, it is extremely high. So it's in a place where you would expect some basic mean reversion. So I definitely have my eye on that. So I have this more on my radar for mean reversion opportunities than it's just completely just exploding. The thing is that the geopolitical situation is very tense, and it's also now becoming more tense between Europe and also America, because the costs are now becoming very, very, very high. And if the dollar starts just ravaging the euro, and currencies of the allies of America, then that is going to become a point of friction. And so it's not in America's self-interest for the dollar to be too strong, and this is way too strong. On the topic of semiconductors, because they are used to mine for cryptos. Here is Nvidia. Yeah, keeps going lower, not good. We are approaching a level on RSI that is interesting. It was extremely viable here in 2018. Doesn't mean it will happen again, but it's a level of interest. Here is Intel. Is this a record? If you look here at the weekly RSI for Intel, we haven't let's look way back here. So this is one of, it might be a record. We have never been this oversold on Intel. So the probability favor upside. It just does. The odds of being able to buy here and profit is simply statistically higher than at this level going short and then profiting. That does not mean that Intel is going to go to the moon, but this is just interesting. I'm definitively going to consider buying Intel next week if it behaves, at least if it behaves better than my browser. So yeah, my browser is like the benchmark for whether or not I will buy Intel. Here are the daily data points. I mean, this is bearish, but there's such a thing as being too bearish as well. Just like there's such a thing as being too bullish. Like if you look here as an example in early 2020, and you had like extreme RSI and everything looked very good, you were above all the moving averages. That wasn't a good time to buy Intel. It was a good time to short Intel. Let's just look at AMD while we are at it. So here is AMD. AMD is not at record lows on RSI. Definitely seen a substantial sell-off, approaching a level where there could be some horizontal support level. A point of interest. So we have looked in depth at Litecoin / the US dollar. It's a messy situation. It just is. I mean, if I were to do something, I would probably wait this one out. It's just too much of a mess. The bears haven't really punched through. Then again, the bulls, they don't have really anything in them. So to me, it seems almost like a gamble. It's like a coin toss. But given the data we did get, the data was significantly more bearish than bullish. And it's hard to really come up with a bullish catalyst for Litecoin, because the geopolitical situation. I mean, these are the types of situations that should hypothetically be favorable to cryptos. Well, we don't see that. And there's a lot of things that we thought would happen with cryptos that have not in practice happened. And when there is a conflict between, that theory and the practice, there is the probability that practice writes the theory.